From the moment we saw Adult Sasuke in Naruto chapter 700, the question of is Adult Sasuke stronger than Madara has existed in the Naruto community. There are some who say that Sasuke is clearly much stronger than Madara, and there are those who say there's no way that Sasuke has surpassed Madara. They refuse to even consider it until Sasuke is shown summoning a giant meteor from the sky and doing all these cool things we saw Jinchuriki Madara do. However, which side of the argument is actually correct? Well, in today's video, we're going to be looking at this topic of has Boruto era Sasuke surpassed Madara Uchiha, and for the purposes of this video, we're going to be looking at both Prime Sasuke and Boruto, as well as the Sasuke who no longer has the rinnegan, and we're also going to be taking a look at a direct statement that Masashi Kishimoto made about Sasuke's power level in the Boruto era that was made just before we got Boruto episode 1, which is something I don't see enough people bring up. So jumping right into it, Boruto era Sasuke being compared to Madara should be laughable, but not for the reason many of you guys might think. It becomes an issue of feels versus reals, or to put it more simply, how we feel about something doesn't change what the reality of the situation is, and it's something we were warned was going to be a case a full year before Boruto's anime debut. After Naruto and Sasuke lost the chakra seals to Hagoromo in Naruto chapter 690, when Hagoromo took back the seals immediately after Kaguya was defeated, we have confirmed information that both Naruto and Sasuke managed to catch up to Kaguya in raw power, to a point where either of them was stated by the narrator of the Sasuke Shinden story of Sunrise that either of them could defeat a threat of a Kaguya level of power. Not the duo of them, either of them, with the narrator specifically saying Sasuke had a level of power that could do that, and given Naruto is stronger than Sasuke, this by extension applies to Naruto as well. So how exactly did we get here? How did they get this powerful during the time skip between chapter 699 and the Boruto movie? During this 15-year time skip, Sasuke not only gained mastery of his rinnegan, but he also raised his chakra levels to a point where he was able to open up dimensional portals to Kaguya's dimension and other Otsutsuki dimensions, and we have a stated number on how much chakra is required to open up a portal to an Otsutsuki dimensional time space, which is over 1/3 of Naruto's 6-pass chakra mode, which at the time had the additional amp of Hagoromo's chakra stored into Naruto's 6-pass Yang seal. And we learned this information during the battle with Kaguya in the ice dimension, where Naruto at the time where this was stated by Obito was only using 2 shadow clones, so his chakra was being split in 3 different ways, 1/3 each. When Obito told him that his shadow clone would not have enough chakra to open up the portal to Kaguya's time space, given how much more chakra Naruto has than Sasuke, even if we round this number down to an even 1/3 of the chakra of that 6-pass chakra mode Naruto with Hagoromo's chakra seal, that's still an enormous amount of chakra, and by extension, it's more than 1/3 of the chakra levels of the same Sasuke who possessed the 6-pass Yin seal, because Naruto and Sasuke were not equal in power with and without the seal. Sasuke by default would have needed to raise his chakra levels high enough to not only open up one portal, but be able to open up multiple portals to travel through those dimensions and leave through those dimensions to return. We know based off of his statement in the Boruto manga that it requires even more chakra to take others with them through those portals. However, it's not just enough to raise his chakra levels to a point where he can open up a portal or two, but as we saw in the Kenshiki battle, Sasuke needed to raise his chakra levels high enough to use Lightning Chakra Cloak in order to amp up his speed and still have enough chakra to use a main Teiji Car and run the Chidori through his sword, each of which are jutsu that consume large amounts of chakra. In order to give you guys a point of reference, given that Naruto used half the number of clones that he did when he fought against those Limbo clones, when Obito made that statement, you can put 2 and 2 together. Those 2 shadow clones with 1/3 of Naruto's power go above Madara, and by extension, given Sasuke's chakra levels had to increase to a level beyond that level that was stated just to open up the portals and not factoring in any of the power needed for the other jutsu, the same holds true for Sasuke. However, let's take things a step further, because I know some of you guys might still be skeptical. I think a lot of people downplay how much stronger someone like Sasuke can get with 15 years of consistent training with the sole intention of fighting a Kaguya level threat. We saw just how much Sasuke improved in only 2.5 years in Naruto's manga, between the events of Naruto vs. Sasuke in Naruto Volumes 27 and when we saw Sasuke body Team 7 at Orochimaru's hideout. Sasuke jumped from a Jonin level of power to clearly being at at a Kage level in such a short period of time. He basically had almost 8 times the amount of years in order to train between chapter 699 and chapter 700. Leaping up to a level beyond Madara isn't necessarily a stretch, especially considering his benchmark for power that both he and Naruto were specifically training to battle was Kage Otsutsuki, someone who we literally have Sasuke state is much stronger than Madara, and Naruto directly says this is way more powerful than Ten Tails level, and the reference Naruto had at the time was Three-Eyed Jinchuriki Madara at that point, and Sasuke at this point in the story, even Sasuke said someone this strong couldn't actually exist, and this comes after Sasuke just met the Sage of Six Paths. Unlike Naruto, who became rusty once he became Hokage, despite by default becoming stronger than he was before due to receiving the other half of the Nine Tails on top of training for over a decade before he became the Hokage, Sasuke continued training and continued staying sharp in battle because unlike Naruto, Sasuke was always out on missions and training. We see the fruits of his labor in the sense that he's shown using his rinnegan at a much higher level than what we previously saw. The Sasuke who fought Naruto in Naruto Volume 72, by his own words, was still mastering the powers of the rinnegan, something that Kurama stated during Naruto's fight, saying that Sasuke was a noob when it came to using the rinnegan and he couldn't absorb chakra and attack at the same time, something that a true rinnegan user could actually do. Boruto era Sasuke, on the other hand, between using his Amena Teijikar more in one battle than he did in the 3 battles he did against Madara, Kage, and Naruto, where in each of these battles, Sasuke literally had to close his eye and recharge, or his own internal thoughts tell us that he's finally recovered enough chakra to use his rinnegan, i.e. in the case of the Kaguya battle, this Boruto era Sasuke is using his true rinnegan techniques in a battle, opening up the portal and using the Amena Teijikar respectively, without the same drainage where he would have to close his eye to recharge his rinnegan. This is even more so the case when you consider most of the battles that we see are after he's already ripped a hole in the time space using his dimensional travel jutsu that takes 1/3 of Six Paths chakra amp Naruto in order to open up. Narratively, Sasuke being stronger than both Madara and Kaguya is driven home even further when we get to Naruto Gaiden, the Boruto movie novelization, which is written by the former Boruto writer Ukyo Kodachi and the Boruto manga itself. In Naruto Gaiden, Sasuke states to Sakura, Naruto, and the Kage that he's always been bothered that someone as strong as Kaguya needed an army, and he believed that there is a threat beyond Kaguya that was coming, but he says that it's merely a hypothesis, or conjecture depending on the translation that you get. However, in the Boruto manga, after he gets the scroll decoded, he specifically states this hypothesis is correct. The hypothesis, of course, being that there are beings stronger than Kaguya coming. Taking it a step further, in the Boruto manga, we get more specific here. Kaguya literally writes down Momoshiki and Kinshiki by name as being the pair of invaders who are coming to punish her for eating the chakra fruit. She doesn't write that the entire clan is coming in the manga. She writes specifically that a pair of invaders are coming in the manga. In the Boruto movie novel, we're told directly by the narrator, an unbiased third party, that Momoshiki and Kinshiki were being so powerful that not even Kaguya could oppose without an army. Regardless as to if you believe that this is in reference to them as individuals or this is in reference to them as a collective fusion, the point still stands. Their power was enough that even Kaguya didn't think she could defeat them without a Zetsu army, which in of itself, they aren't necessarily powerful, the Zetsu army that she's creating, but creatures that can hide their chakra, disguise their chakra, and most importantly, absorb the chakra of their enemy are beings that can give Kaguya the edge that she needed in what she believed to be a even stronger foe. We know based off of the anime that even after she ate the chakra fruit and had both of her sons, Hagoromo and Hamura, with her, which both of them were already really strong, she still believed this wouldn't be enough because she was still trying to build an army. And when she spoke in fear to her sons, her own private thoughts showed Momoshiki and Kinshiki alongside Urashiki, who, it should be worth noting, Masashi Kishimoto had originally written in the script for the Boruto movie to contain Urashiki Otsutsuki, but he was cut out due to the time constraints. This notion it was only pre-chakra fruit Kaguya who they were stronger than, this is directly contradicted by multiple source materials at the time. Boruto era Sasuke fought alongside Naruto with only taijutsu and not only bullied Momoshiki and Kinshiki, but when the fused Momoshiki appeared in front of them, they had him on a defensive for a good portion of the fight. Despite Naruto only being at 50% of his chakra, which was absorbed by Momoshiki, and Sasuke without a large chunk of his own chakra from opening up the portal to transport himself, Boruto, the 4 Kage, Katasuke, and Katasuke's aide, which according to Sasuke, the more people he transports, the more chakra he uses up. Despite being without a chunk of their power, they were able to defeat Fused Momoshiki, a fusion of two beings Kaguya wrote she was afraid of by name in the manga, using only taijutsu. Taking it a step further to directly compare the two, one rinnegan Jubi Madara was struggling to fight off Naruto and Sasuke, who had just got the chakra seals in their respective power-ups, 6-pass Sage Mode and 6-pass Power for Naruto, and the Rinnegan for Sasuke. Sasuke, without using his full power, was able to speed blitz that version of Madara and chop him in half. And Naruto, without using his full power, was able to dodge Madara's Light Fang Jutsu at point blank range, which moves at the speed of light. All of this required Madara to power up by getting another Rinnegan. Even in a hypothetical battle, say Madara uses Truth Seeking Orbs, we saw from Sasuke, who had just got the Rinnegan and hadn't yet mastered it, that Sasuke's Susanoo arrows are enough to shoot down the Truth Seeking Orbs, so those are pointless here. The same with the Limbo clones. They don't have enough power to make a difference in a fight because narratively the story has already power cliffed beyond that level of power, and given that Sasuke's trained his Rinnegan for far longer than Madara ever had the Rinnegan, it's a no contest. However, let's take it a step further. Let's look at what Masashi Kishimoto himself said, since I know there will still be some who say they're not convinced at all. The literal series creator himself confirmed that Naruto and Sasuke have gotten so powerful by the Boruto era, and that the enemies having gotten much stronger by comparison leads to the battles needing to be bigger, but he wasn't sure how to express it. According to Kishimoto in his weekly Shonen Jump interview for Jump Fest of 2017, the answer was to focus on expressing power differently than before. He says that Naruto and Sasuke becoming so strong and the battles getting bigger and bigger, but also having to find a way to incorporate the kids into the fights was by default going to make the fights feel a lot smaller in scale, which is why he said there needed to be a focus on finding ways to express power differently. This becomes feels versus reality. You feel like the fights are scaled down because they are, but the power output is being contained and expressed in a way so as to not outshine Boruto's generation. The knee-jerk reaction is say, bruh, that's a nerf, but that's not the case when you look at what Kishimoto's saying. The fights aren't scaled down in terms of the power output because narratively, Fused Momoshiki, Jigen, and Ishiki are all beings that go well beyond Madara and Kaguya in power, with Ishiki being so strong that Kaguya felt the need to sneak attack him when he was off guard instead of fighting him head up. A sneak attack with your guard being lowered is not the same thing as one-shotting someone when their defenses are up and they're expecting a fight, but that's another video for another day. The decision is to force Naruto and Sasuke into battles where their enemies either absorb jutsu or shrink jutsu, which in turn forces them to only use taijutsu in their battles, whereas when you look at Boruto and Team 7, they just happen to be fighting against enemies who cannot absorb jutsu, which allows for the fights to be even flashier because ninjutsu is being used. That's why we have Momoshiki breaking out of the Chibaku Tensei, the strongest of the basic Rinnegan jutsu that every Rinnegan user has access to, and Momoshiki does it with no problem. That's why Jigen and Ishiki, who are stronger than Momoshiki, are written as being hard counters to the basic Rinnegan jutsu. This was done in order to force power to be expressed in a different way. When we got introduced to Madara in Naruto's manga, it came during a time where the series was approaching the peaks in terms of power and the level of power that was being expressed. That's why you had Biju Dama destroying whole chunks of the battlefield, meteors being dropped out the sky, attacks bending space and time in the form of Might Guy's 8th Gate, mountains being sliced open by a Susanoo sword because we're at the peak of Naruto's manga, whereas Boruto's being written as taking things back to the basics, and as Ikimoto himself has said, the fights are meant to feel more like part 1 Naruto fights. And when you factor in what Kishimoto said, the idea is to not overshadow the children while still displaying Naruto and Sasuke as being powerful, not using mountain busting attacks or overpowered ninjutsu. It isn't a disqualifier if we're talking power, and the reason being is that the enemies Naruto and Sasuke fought, those powers would have been useless and a waste of chakra, which is why instead of using chakra for ninjutsu, all of their chakra for the most part was used to amp their physical stats because only taijutsu was effective against these enemies. If you think they have a power that would allow them to perform better against someone like Jigen, click here to watch my Why Jigen 1 video where I literally list Naruto and Sasuke's entire ninjutsu arsenal, all their Kekkei Genkai, and Naruto's sage powers, and explain why and how Jigen hard counters and why, for as much as they struggled with Jigen, they stood no chance against Ishiki.